Hey folks, Mr. Tolly. I'm going to be looking at two cameras. I've got one here and I've got one here. Let's see how this goes. I'm trying out the GoPro, but I don't want to lose all the footage here. So, I'm at a point now, I'm sick of using my little claw hammer wherever I put it. I'm just sick and tired of using it. So I'm going to finally get around to cleaning this up and getting it going again. What happened is, it didn't break, but the handle got really loose and just comes off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this to both cameras here. I don't know if you'll see it, but all the little dings kind of dinged up in there. There's just some marks, some rust, just some of that kind of stuff. This, I don't know if you can read it, drop forged Sears and Roebuck. So this is obviously a vintage hammer. I want to say that this is the original handle for it, so I don't want to replace the handle, although it's probably not a hard thing to do. I can probably find a handle and just, no matter what, I have to form the handle to fit the head. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shave the handle, cut a little off the handle, and sand it down to fit the head. And I'll polish the face, clean it up a little bit. It's not bad, because I take care of it. I don't hit any metal with this hammer at all. So we'll clean it up a little, make it look good. And that's really all I'm going to do. I'm just going to clean it up good. I might make a little polish out of it. But we're going to make it look good. Do what it's got to do. And that's about all I'm going to say about it right now. So, I figured I'd take you along for the ride. For the fiddly bits that are rounded, this is just a chainsaw file. Nothing more than that. And it'll allow me to get in here. There's some casting marks down in here from when it was made. I just kind of want to smooth those out. So just so you can try to figure it out why I'm using a file. Imagine if the the rotary tool got away from me and I slipped with it, how much damage that could do. Now, if we look here, I'll show this a little closer on the camera. I left one of the casting marks here, and here's the one that I filed out. So I'll show that up here a little better. You should be able to see where it is down in here. I'll show that to the other camera too. Right down in there. I know it's hard to tell where that second casting mark is, but it's just that easy to get it out. And most of these other dings and stuff will come out just the same. So I'm going to continue on, and I'm not going to make you watch. I'll pop in maybe either photos, or I'll come in and show some more filing along the way. There's a big dinger right here in the corner. A little one over here, but that's not concerning me. But this big one is going to be kind of a pain in the butt to get out. It's just kind of a pain in the butt there. And I may re-contour that a little bit on the belt sander. Getting better. I'll have to do this is all going to be by hand. Sometimes rolling a piece of sandpaper, this is just 220 grit, rolled it around a round 3/8 dowel, can get in here, and especially for these rounded sections can do a really nice job. Without chewing into the metal heavy duty. Cleaning that up pretty well. And I'll just change my grits as I go. And the dowel will work good on the flat spots too. Just want to keep moving at an angle. Except around in here. It's another one of those rounded areas. It just takes time. It's not a big deal. But that's one of those spots where, yeah, I could get in there with the rotary tool and probably smooth that out real nice. But I don't need perfect. I just want it to be, I don't know. I just want it to look nice again. Mostly don't want it to scratch leather when I'm working on it. That's my biggest thing. So I did wind up breaking out the rotary tool, mostly to get down in around here, around the head. And now I'm just cleaning it up a little bit with some 220. There are some pretty deep scratches from that 120 grit belt. I don't know if I'm going to drop down to a 220 belt and clean those up. I think you can probably see them. They're pretty deep. And I might just go to the 220 belt, clean those up, then drop down. I think I got a 400 grit. But just do some hand working around here. Just getting in around. I'm not going to get, some of these pits that are in here are pretty big, pretty deep. And I'm sure they were that way when I got the hammer. So I'm not going to try to get them all the way out. But if you look around there, it's looking pretty good. I think it's looking pretty nice. Not perfect. I'm actually fairly satisfied with where I'm at right now. I went around the outside of the head. I'll do the face when I start switching up grits. Because I'll probably start with I don't know, I may hit that real quick, light with the 220. I may wait until I get to the, I don't remember, 400 I think is the next grit I got. If you're ever at a point when you want to check your progress and see, you know, if you're looking for a totally flat surface, just color it over with some marker I just used a Sharpie marker, and then I'll go over it with the file to see. It'll take that marker off and it'll show me where my low spots and high spots are. This part of this hammer kind of dishes in a little bit on the bottom part, so I have to go in that with a round file. You can use marking fluid too, like the machinists use, that die-cal marking fluid. Sharpie's a lot cheaper. If you're not, if you're using it a lot, the die-cam works. So now if you look, you can see where my high spots are, or low spots I should say. And I just kind of want to even everything out. I haven't started on the other side. My wife's calling me for dinner, so I think I'm going to go eat. I kind of shouldn't have used the belt sander. I spent a lot more time getting the sides to where I wanted them. And I still have to, this is just down to 220, and I've still got some scratches in there to take out. But I will eventually get them out. This on the back here, I need to get those out, and I probably don't need to. I mean, it'll function the way it is. I just want to. I want it to look pretty. Down here, I took that and I put that on the pulley on the grinder, on the belt grinder, and it did bad things right here. So that'll take me a while to get that squared away. Kind of gouged out the middle. But I don't do a lot of restoration on hammers like this, so I learn a little every day. I'm learning today. Well, this is the next day actually, but I'm learning more every time. The only part of this that's hardened steel, they only hardened to the face of the hammer, the head. The rest of this is still fairly soft, so I can file it and stuff pretty well. So I'm going to keep working at it. I put my poundo mat under here because it's starting to slide around on me quite a bit. And I'll turn the head around a few times. Just because that kind of keeps things a little more even. Don't get me wrong, I've done quite a bit of metal work. Most of it's been hammer and sheet steel. So I'm a little new to this. I've done a lot of steel and aluminum work, but not this kind of restoration work. It's mostly making new stuff. So I'm used to getting some pretty fine tolerances with hand tools, like files, chisels. I'm not familiar really with milling machines and stuff. A lot of file work. Made a lot of parts for guns, firing pins and hammers and stuff out of raw steel. But this is kind of new. It just takes me a little longer. And that's kind of part of my preference for hand tools. I get to actually feel the steel, and I have more control. This is, so you can see on the back here, I've still got a spot that's low. And I don't know if this thing is recording or not. It's telling me it's got a low battery. Charge your GoPro to proceed. It's on the charger. It's charging. So it should be working. The instructions said I can charge it while I'm recording, so it should be working. So we'll go over here to the Sony that I know is still charging and recording and doing everything it's supposed to. But there's that shiny spot in the middle, and I've got to get that all flattened out. You can't feel it, but the file doesn't lie. So it's a little low there in the middle. I haven't gotten to the back yet, not much anyway. It's low in the middle there too, because of that shiny spot. So other than that, that's all I've got to get straightened out. Then we'll hit it up with some 220. I've already pretty much got the sides done. And the head is pretty well done. I've got to get the face a little better, but I'll get that, and yeah, we'll get her done. Slow but sure. There's kind of not a lot of pressure on there, but just kind of going across, taking care of business. And after I'm done with this, I will switch over to a sanding stick of sorts. And this is just, it's a piece of this that was an offcut for making some jigs. And I just glued on some sandpaper. I got 320 on one side and 220 on the other. And that'll work real nice on the flat spots. But I had to take a couple of days and get some other stuff done. So as much as I need to have my hammer back, I do have other work that's got to get done. So I'll just keep working. And when I can, I'll pop in and show you a little more. I'll show you the progress. There's a lot of hours into this doing it by hand. But obviously, the machine didn't do me any favors here. And I will be bringing my polisher in here. I have a, well, it's a bench grinder actually, but I have a polishing wheel on it. So we'll be bringing that in. And that's what I'm going to use to clean her up nice. Decide what I'm going to do after I get it all buffed out and stuff. I'll buff the head, the face of it for sure. Well, I'm reasonably happy with where I've gotten to. There's still just a little bit of the shiny in there. Hopefully that'll come out with the 220 on the, that I got wrapped around the dowel here. And kind of ease the edges a little, ease the bottom here. So far, looking pretty darn good, I think. I think. I'm just going to kind of keep going here. This Poundo board sure makes it a lot quieter. I'm just going to take the 220, just like I did on the sides here, and get rid of all those harsh scratches from the files. Those files will do a number on it. I had to take a coarser file to really knock that down. Then I went over it with the chainsaw file again. And got it quite, it's pretty decent. I'm happy enough with it that I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I've eased all these edges a little bit. Just a little, not too much. This edge along here, I tried to keep that as sharp as I could because it's just there for appearance, but I thought it looked nice, so I wanted to keep it there. But, like I said, this will take a while, so I'm not going to make you watch me do it all. That and when the camera's on, I feel compelled to talk. And I'm sure somebody will be critical of what I'm doing. Always has to be somebody. Starting to look pretty good. Time to change grits, I think, and give her a little more. The face is looking pretty good on there. The GoPro is charging. It doesn't want to cooperate with me right now, so we'll get this on the Sony. But it's looking good. Sides are looking good. Top's looking good. Bottom's not too bad. We'll get on with it. So the head came down to right about here. I'm just going to take my trusty little coping saw and I'm going to cut it off right there. I don't know what that handle's made of, but it's pretty hard stuff. I've still got a wedge in here. Let's see if we can spread this out and get it out of there. I see there's a little bit of a spot here. Wasn't much of a wedge. It's only about 1/4 of an inch long. Darn it. Well, I may have to find a little bit different solution for that. But for now, we'll just set that aside. Set that aside. And I'll just try to flatten this out a bit on some sandpaper. I wouldn't expect 220 grit to take too long. But some hard wood. Insert jokes. So we're not too terribly far off from fitting there. That piece is getting pretty worn out. This is, what do they call this? G2? I don't know what it is. I don't like this sandpaper. I won't be buying it again. I'll go without before I gotta buy it again. It doesn't last long. And it clogs up really easy. But it was close to home. taking some off. Give me an idea how far down I have to go with this. I did grab a file this time. My daughter had to call me. First communion tomorrow. Gotta remember that. So here's something I've always been curious of. It says on here that this head was drop forged. Drop forged. Show it to both cameras. Can somebody explain drop forging to me? I suppose I could just look it up and explain it to y'all. I never quite understood it. Never really cared. It wasn't all that important to me. I know they didn't drop it on the floor to forge it. I was always just curious about that. So if somebody knows more about it than I, leave a comment. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button. Ring that bell, you might get some kind of a notification. I know YouTube's been messing with all that stuff. But you might get something. Oh, where'd I put my little Hondo mat? Well, I think that works better this way. We'll switch our back. Since the handle doesn't really have a front or a back to it. There's a little forge line inside the head here. Probably from when they made the hole. I don't know enough about it. I watch Forged in Fire, and they drop stuff all the time. I drop stuff too, but I'm not forging. I'm only taking a little bit at a time right now because I'm pretty close. So every time I wrap it in there, it kind of marks it a little different. So when it stops making a mark up here, it'll make it up a little farther. So I know I don't have to take it off all the way down to the edge. I'm not a hammer handle fitting kind of guy, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I have fit an axe handle before, and I just got it as close as I could, and then I split down the middle and made a wedge to go in there. And maybe that's the wrong way to do things, but it worked for my axe. And I think it'll work for the hammer too. I got quite a ways to go yet till I can get it all the way through. Right now, about a third of the way in. So I'm going to keep working at it. You don't have to watch me do that. Just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I got a pretty reasonable fit. It's a little smaller. I should have kind of stayed a little bit bigger. But it fits. I just need to slit that down now, and I'll just use my little coping saw for that and put a wedge in there. But I wanted to sand this handle down a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to put any finish on it. I just want to get it down so there's no splinters. I got a few spots over here that are kind of coughing up a few splinters into my hand every once in a while. But I'm not going to put any kind of a finish on it. I'm not going to oil it or anything. It's got enough just hand oils in it. I don't know how old this is. I don't know when Sears quit using the Sears and Roebuck. So I'm not going to, I don't want to do anything to it. I think this is the original handle from this hammer. And I'm just going to kind of let it age again. I just am doing this to get rid of the splinters mostly. I think I owe you a little bit of explanation on some of this. The reason that I'm not trying to get rid of all the scratches and make this absolutely beautiful is because I'm one of those people that will go down that rabbit hole. I will go down that rabbit hole until this is absolutely flawlessly perfect if I don't force myself to stop. So I force myself to stop because I could spend a week, I could spend 40 or 50 hours just working on this head until it was flawless, and it would look beautiful. It would look so beautiful that it would blind you. It would be polished to a mirror shine. It's already nice, without a doubt. But there's still scratches. It's not perfect. Show the other camera too. It's not perfect, but it's nice, and it's completely serviceable now. And it should fit the handle nicely. So I'm going to put it on here. Now, the one thing I didn't count on is that didn't quite come out as good as I had hoped. And I don't know why that is. That's the way I made it to go on right there. I'd kind of hoped that that would be a little tighter in the top. But apparently I don't get to have that. I think the bottom of the hole, and if I sat and actually measured, but looking through it, the bottom of the hole is quite a bit smaller than what the top is. So I think what I might do is, now that it's on, I'm going to drive my wedges in, and I may fill that in. Show the other camera too, because I don't know which footage I'm going to use here. I'm going to drive those wedges in, which I just made. The wedges are just made from whatever I cut off from the top there. So I just made 2 wedges to go together, and I just made them from the piece that I cut off. So I'm going to go ahead and drive those in, and then I think I'm just going to put some JB Weld in the top to fill that in, because I think I have to fill that in with something. I feel like I do. So there is my wedges. And we're just gonna give them each a couple of wraps to try to set them in there. There, I hear them bottoming out on the bottom of my slot I cut. So that is all the farther they're going to go. And that head is not going anywhere. And all I need to do is cut those off. I think I'm just going to be able to use a utility knife to cut that off. Keep my finger out of the way. So that's what she looks like. I'm not going to put anything on the handle. The oils from my hand are going to do it justice again, just like it was in the beginning. Alright folks, there it is, my cobbler's hammer. I love the patina on the handle. The splinters are pretty much out of there, so I'm not worried about getting splinters. The head still has some flaws, but that's okay. I don't know when Sears quit calling it Sears Roebuck, but it is what it is. I am going to continue to use this hammer probably for the rest of my days. And I'm going to love this hammer because I've loved it this long. I'll probably get some other hammers too, because every hammer has a different purpose. I'm not a saddler. I don't make saddles, so I don't need those kind of hammers. This one gets used all the time in my shop. This is my go-to hammer for every seam, every stitch line, every glue line that I make. It's this hammer hitting it. And having to have something else just doesn't cut it for me. I like this hammer. If you want to see some more tool restorations, I have more to do. I've got a couple of holsters to restore. I've got a pair of 3/4 inch CS Osborne, old CS Osborne. I believe they call these arch punches. One of them's a little mushroomed on the end there. That's what happens to them when you hit them with a steel hammer. That's why I don't use steel on them. But I've got 2 of them because the price was right. I bought both of them. I also have these Adco arch punches, or hole punches, whatever I call them hole punches. I think they're arch punches. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe somebody can tell me. I haven't bothered to look. They punch round holes though, not arches. Anyway, I'm going to restore these 2. These almost look brand new. There's one that's been used, but you know, they're nice. The price was right, and I'm going to restore them. So, if you're looking to see those videos, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, ring that bell, do all that good stuff, and watch for the videos to come. It'll be a little while. I got to get back on some work and get some real work done to pay the bills, because the lights cost money to run. Y'all stay safe. God bless. And I will catch you in the next video.